Hi Ken. Well, we just shared some really good insights. Actually, everybody is mesmerized about what you shared with them. And one of the things that they wanted to know more about is because the whole concept of simplicity sounds so obvious and almost is easy. Can anybody actually do it? Can anybody incorporate that into their work?
Yeah, I think the easy answer is yes. It takes, I think, the ability to appreciate the power of simplicity because it takes a lot of effort to do. The weird thing about simplicity is, it often looks so obvious that it looks like, well, of course, and nobody really put any work into that, of course.
Nobody thought about it.
Yeah. When in fact, an awful lot of work went into it. That's why I always say that, is there really any such thing as simplicity, or are we really talking about the perception of simplicity? So it is this power that anyone could have. That's the beauty of it. It's free. Apple doesn't own it, And if you get good at looking at things through this lens of simplicity and making sure you're not trying to do too many things at once, or sometimes the most effective, powerful idea is the obvious one, but you don't want obvious that's been done 100 times before. But a lot of the times, that simple solution hasn't been done before, and it's so easy to appreciate and remember for people. It's the power of simplicity.
Also, people often talk about how there's this whole idea of faster, cheaper, better, but you can only pick 2 out of 3. Is simplicity the key to all 3?
Yeah, I had this experience earlier in my life. One of the first commercials I ever did, where this director screamed and yelled about pick 2 of the 3. Faster, better, cheaper. You can't have all 3. And I probably went a good 10 or 15 years from that point believing that was true. And I probably even used it in my arguments with different people. And then I met Steve Jobs, and I realized, I think that was his thing, that if you're really, really good about keeping things simple, it's faster, better, and cheaper. You use fewer people. You don't have so many, layers of things to go through. Apple would do Apple would do in a couple of weeks what Intel and companies like that do when it comes to marketing. What those companies do in like 2 months. It was amazing how quickly we could get things done. That Think Different campaign, from start to being on air, was like 6 weeks. That's unheard of. And in 6 weeks we probably wouldn't even have had a concept in the Intel days. So.
But of course, it takes a vision. A lot of the concepts that you shared are always. It's like there's the common idea that Steve was there to identify those and let you do the work. So at some point, it also takes a good client to come up with good work, right?
Very much so. And we had, I think there was an ad that Chiat Day even did. The agency for Apple where I worked, that clients. Actually, their headline, I just remembered it, they had all these beautiful ads on a page, and their headline was, "The client made us do it."
The client made us do it. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, and it's true. They say that clients get exactly the advertising they deserve. So when you see bad ads in the world, it's probably because they made things very difficult for the agency, because most agencies have a pure creative vision, and then the question is, how effectively can they go from concept to in print or on air? So Steve Jobs was just very special in that way. Of all the clients I've ever worked with, he had a very high level of taste and a commitment to doing great work. It's very, very rare. Usually, and by the way, another important thing is the participation of the ultimate decision maker. In many places, you talk about, clients approving or rejecting things. You could work for weeks or even months sometimes before it would get to the guy who would make the decision.
Takes the decision.
And he could look at it and say, "What'd you do that for?"
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas if you have the decision maker there at the beginning, just to say, "This is what I'm thinking. This is how I feel. I want you guys to understand, where I'm coming from," and now you go off and do the work. it can save months of frustration.
Night and day difference, right?
And so many companies don't bring in the decision maker till the end, and it's really it doesn't take up that much time for someone to. They'll always say they're too busy, but come in and spend a half hour one day before all these people do all this work.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for sharing these thoughts with us, and we hopefully we'll see you sometimes during the next few years with your new book. Good luck in that. Thank you.